What's up? What's good? It's Kim TV, and I'd like to welcome you to the place to be. Today, I have a very special guest with me. He hails from Mexico City, by way of Houston, Texas. One of the number one droners in the world, a family man, a motivator, very dedicated to his craft. I have with me Mr. Alex Cardenas. What's going on, Alex? How you doing, baby?
Hey, good morning, man. I don't know if it's nighttime or morning over there where you at.
Yeah, currently in Houston, man. It's kind of evening. It's let me check. I can look on this computer. 7:55, 7:55 here. Kind of still daylight.
Oh yeah, we it's 7:55 over here, but we one hour behind on sun. So
Okay,
for instance,
okay.
like it's 6 o'clock over there in your time. It's still nighttime, but it's daylight over here.
Oh wow, wow. Where you currently located?
I'm currently in Chicago, Illinois.
What brings you to Chicago?
We currently are doing some ultrasonic testing on some tanks. Basically, it's what they used for like Dell computers and stuff. What they used to like clean the screens and stuff, all that liquid.
Uh huh.
That's what they hold in those tanks, and so we're doing all the ultrasonic testing on those tanks for them. So
Okay, that's
basically, it's
what's
a
up.
company called Safety Clean. Basically, my company bought out these companies, and so now they're like sisters. And so we're doing just like give them a hand to their like yearly inspections and stuff.
Okay, so y'all doing yearly inspections. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm grateful and I'm glad I got you here today. I know you recently went through what I would call a career change, right?
Hmm.
So now I understand you're flying drones and building robots and designing robots and different diagrams. Can you touch on that a little bit, like as far as the transition? How did you get into this type of technology?
Literally, I've always had an interest like in robotics, like RCs, remote controls. I always would tinker you know, for Christmas, I would always get like RC cars for Christmas, like from uncles, aunts, sisters, brothers. And first thing I do is break them, tear them apart, see what was inside,
Right.
dissect them. And then I just started like messing with the motors, putting batteries, and seeing, how I could improve it to make it better. And now, well, it just led me to, into robotics, RCs. Always have an interest into it, and I always wanted to take that step to like do it. I always had it like in the back of my mind, but I got this one opportunity, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna jump for it, and here I am, man, succeeding, man.
Okay. That's what's up,
Yeah.
man. I'm proud of you, man. Followed your dreams.
Yep. Yep.
Followed your dreams, man. Check the box off. Do you see yourself still in the business like in 5 years from now, or more enhancement, or which direction you think the business is heading as far as
Oh,
futuristic inspections with drones?
actually, inspection with drones is just beginning, so it's a good thing I just jumped on the board at the right time. So, as far as like everybody's turning towards using drones and robotics, we just not just because it's safer, but as far as like cost effective. Like like for instance, the industry of like manufacturing. Now they're using like drones, robots to do any manual work because they save time on business like hours, and then they don't have to pay an employee. They can just run a robot to do the job, and it's safer. They don't have to like work comp, risks like for business that's like politics and stuff. Like and for instance, like us, we have like a tank cleaning crew literally instead of like running a person in there, which is like confined space, supplied air like supplied airlines, we can just run a robot in there, and that sucker can like clean, it can pressure wash, do all the job all at once, rather than running a person in there in like extreme hot conditions. We can just run a robot in there, and if it breaks down, we can pull it out, replace it with another robot, and continue the job until the task is complete.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So that way, no one's harmed. It's a real
Yep.
safe operation. Ain't too much involving OSHA as far as I guess it turns down or cuts down on the injuries, like the
Yep. Yep.
percentage for the company to go to drones. Question before that company, what was the name of it again?
It was Clean Harbors, but I work under a company called HPC Industrial, but Clean Harbors bought us out. So it's basically kind of like this company is like monopolying the whole industry of industrial services. So they're buying every company that does industrial services. So which is good for me because I'm on the good end, as versus not being on the bad end.
Right, right. That's good, man. That's beautiful. So, but before the drones, were they using like humans?
Yes, they're
Oh,
using helicopters, airplanes to do like lidar, any kind of inspections. They're using like people and like rope axes, hanging people from like 200 feet up in the air just to get an inspection. Now we can just fly a drone up there and do like a UT inspection, which is basically like that's currently what I'm doing up here in Chicago. We'll fly a drone that has a UT probe on it, and we'll take shots, and it will do like a thickness test of what the metal is,
right.
how thick it is, and we can do tests on how like corrosive it is inside that tank.
Mm.
And then after we compare it to the inspection from the previous year, and we can tell what's the wear and tear of that metal at that section. And if the
Oh,
tank is getting thinner, and we say they need to remove that tank, or you know
out of service. So it's kind of
decommission
like
it.
it's kind of like a cross reference from last year to this year's results, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, good deal. I like that. I know since you've been in the industry with the company, shout out to the company. You recently, I'm gonna hold that for a second, but like we used to me and used to speak all the time because we was I can't say co-workers like some people pronounce would call their friend, but you was a great friend of mine down on the job, like in the oil industry. And
Yep.
before we used to conversate, you used to tell me, "Man, I ain't never flying. I'm afraid of planes." But now I see you all over planes all over the world, and you're on
Everywhere.
boats, you're on
Yep.
trains, you driving back from Chicago. I mean, what
Yep.
was that transition like as far as your first flight?
So, like that flight, my first flight, you're never gonna forget it, man. I was terrified.
Tell me
Boss man
about
said,
it.
"Hey," a boss
Tell me
man
about
said,
it.
"Hey." So I was actually in Pennsylvania, man. We're doing a job. We're at a cracker plant, a
Yeah.
Shell cracker plant. Boss man sends me this email saying, "Hey, I need you to get on a plane. Get with Wendy. She's gonna confirm your plane ticket." And I was like, "What do you mean? I'm about to get on this plane, really?" And so they dropped me off. Man, what airport is close by Pennsylvania? Some airport, man. And so I didn't know like the whole process, how to check in your bag, get all this
Okay.
stuff, TSA pre-check and all this stuff. I didn't have any of that stuff.
Right.
And so, dude, I was like standing in line, freaking like lost. And luckily, I found this, like nice young lady. Like, she was like, I was like on the train. I was like, "Man, this is my first time. I don't know where to go." And she's like, "Oh, it's your first time. Don't worry. Sit with me, and I'm going to show you where to go." And she like, I gave her all
Okay.
the info, and she walked me through the whole process. And dude,
Wow. Wow.
and then finally she got me to my destination. She was like, "Yeah, just wait here at your gate. Wait for your plane, and just get on your plane, and you'll make it back to Houston." I was
Oh
like,
wow.
"Whew." So luckily for that woman, she was like my angel, man, because I
I
was
was about to say
terrified of her.
that there was an angel. There was an angel in
Yeah,
disguise. That's how it works in the universe.
yeah. And so I was like terrified. Even when I got on the plane, I was like shaking. My boy told me, "Hey, sit in the emergency seat because there's more room." So I was like, "All right."
Oh, this
And
was
so I'm
Southwest, right?
yeah, Southwest
Yeah,
flight.
yeah, yeah. You get on like a school bus, sit where you want.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. I
And
fly
so
Spirit. Shout out to Spirit. But we come back
oh,
to that.
come on, man, come on.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there on the plane, and then when this plane hits, man, I mean it hit hard. I thought I was like, whew. I couldn't look out the plane. I shut the window. Oh man, but it was cool. And now, man, it's like cake, man. I'm just
Right,
chilling
right, right,
now,
right.
be relaxed. Got my little gadgets, clip
Got you,
on my
got you.
seat.
You're a frequent flyer now, so you always
Yep.
had to break that first flight. I would say like
Mhm.
the Virgin flight, I would call it, just to make up
Right.
something. But I have a bunch of relatives and friends, and you were one of them. I would always try to
Right.
persuade you, and I guess that's like a great way to get somebody to conquer a fear. Like if they go into a
Mhm.
situation with no choice,
Yeah,
right?
you just gotta
Like
be.
your boss calls you, and is like, "Hey, I need you back in Houston, but you're in Pennsylvania." You're like, "What? I'm driving?" You're like, "Nah, you about to fly back." You're like, "Nah, I never
Yeah.
flew before." So like, I guess you think people have to be like in pressure situations of like no options to conquer a fear. Like just say if it's a cruise ship or flying. I know that was something huge for you because you would never fly. You would never even consider it.
Mm-mm.
So now I
Yeah.
guess you're like me now. It's like you try to tell everybody, man, you got to at least do it once because you know
Yeah,
it's crazy, bro.
you just don't know. So like that was my little like jump off the board in life because like is I look at life now as like that because if you won't know unless you try it. Like you just gotta
Correct.
just do it. And if
Right.
not, if you're gonna hold back in life, you're never gonna know, man. And you only live once.
That's
So
true.
that's how it got me to this situation, man. I'm like, dude, I gotta jump the ship. And here I am, man.
Yeah.
And it's luckily I took this step because it's put me in so many like places I've gone traveled like places where I never thought I would travel. Like,
Wow.
dude,
Awesome.
like if I could share my screen, like with my little pin map, trust me, bro, I've gone to like California, Mexico, man, Tampico, Mexico. Who
Of
would have
course.
thought?
Of course.
Like
Gracias, Gran Pedro.
right? And like situations, like you get to meet people, people that you never like, very good people in the
Right.
world, is
Right.
like Canada, man. I've been to Canada once, been to like all north, like Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, like hundreds of times Louisiana, Texas, you know, like everywhere, man. It's crazy.
That's dope, man. That's dope, man. Uh, let's go back a little further. I remember you was sharing with me your first job on the all in like how can I say it, like offshore
Offshore,
with the
yeah.
boat. Yeah, tell me how what that was like with the rough seas and you ready to get out of there and go home. Like, man, I'm ready to go.
So that kind of ties in with that Pennsylvania, like that airplane, the
Oh, so that was
Southwest,
the
like,
same. That was the
like
same. That's
yeah,
why you flew back.
exactly. So
Wow.
we won a contract with a company called Helix. So basically, it's a company that's out of Firshon in
Right.
Louisiana.
Fouchon,
Fushon. Yeah.
aka the end of the world. Yeah.
So they're out of that place, and so they said, "Hey, we just won a contract with Helix. We want you to go out since you have more experience flying the M300, which is shout out to DJI.
Shout out DJI, of course. I fly the DJI Maverick Air 2 is in a building.
Yeah,
DJI,
yeah,
if you watching, send me something, send me something that I can bro, I can
yeah,
advertise DJI.
exactly. And so I had the most experience flying that drone, and so he said, "Hey, I need you to grab this drone from the office. You need to be on a boat at 11 o'clock tonight." So I was like, got off my
Wow.
plane.
So you're in Pennsylvania.
I was in Pennsylvania,
The same
so that was
day.
like yes, same day. That was
Okay.
like 6 hours flight, dude.
Wow.
And got back to Houston, went back went back to the shop to grab the drone, and I told my boss, I was like, hey, I need to pack up, like I need to refurbish my bag, like my luggage and stuff, put new stuff, and I need for offshore that I thought I would need. Dude, I packed too much. Like I was like, when I got to the dock, it was like 11 o'clock at night.
So
Dude, I was
how did you go from Houston to Fouchon?
so so I had to drive, bro.
Wow, the same day.
Yeah, the same day. So
Shout
it
out
was
to
like,
mileage. Shout out to mileage.
yeah, and luckily I got that Beamer, man. So that's a
Yeah.
great gas saver.
Yeah.
And so my boss was like, hey, here's a gas card. Any expenses, we'll reimburse you. I was like, okay, bet. And so went home, packed up my bag in, went hit off to Louisiana, man. Luckily, I made it right at like I think it was like 10:30. Guys were already waiting for me. Like they're like, hey, we're waiting for you. Unloaded, got on the boat, parked my car, got on the boat, and then we had to hit 10 miles out. And dude, I was like nervous. I was like, dude, I just got off a plane, went home, freaking, kiss mama goodbye, and then kids and
Right,
everything, then
right.
back on
And
the road
shout out to
again.
mom. Shout out to mom and the family, man. Always holding it down.
Oh yeah, man. I don't know what I'd do without them, man. Shit.
That's what's up.
And so yeah, inspected I think 5 decommissioned rigs. Basically, they've been knocked over by like hurricanes, storms, and stuff. Louisiana always getting hit every year, and those basically rigs have been like capped up, and they lost a contract with I think it was Cox that was the owner of those rigs. They
Cox
lost their con.
Communication.
No, I guess it's Cox Oil Field. I don't know. It's just
Oh,
COX, and they lost contracts, so basically they went bankrupt. So it's basically just these rigs sitting out in the ocean, just collecting, debris or filling up the ocean with debris. and so Helix won the contract to decommission those, remove them from the ocean, so that way it doesn't disturb like cruises, make it
Okay,
dangerous for
okay,
people that are out there.
okay,
And so basically, we were inspecting basically to see what is going to be required to remove like these rigs from the ocean, from the Gulf of Mexico. And so basically, took pictures, video. If we could, we were able to get on the rig, we would get on the rig and basically look at, you know, foot placements, what was required, guarding, damage guarding, like rope access if there was, where people were could tie off, make sure everything was turned off,
okay.
except for like the beacons and the sound, like whatever you call the horns that are on there.
Right.
But yeah, it was pretty exciting, and
That was
I was
that
so
sounds like
ready.
a that sounds like a such that sounds like a very adventurous day. Your first flight, your first flight, come back home for a few hours, drive to 4 hours to Louisiana, Fouchon even
Yep,
further, hop on
yep,
a barge boat. I'm assuming like a boat. How
yep.
far from land to the rig was the sail away?
So it said it was 10 miles, but it felt like longer, man, because that boat goes so slow, man. I don't know how many knots it was going. Literally, I could sleep all night, and then I think by I think 11 o'clock in the morning, we got to the first site, and of course, dude, I was shaking, nervous. I was like, man, I'm about to fly this drone over the water, like
Right,
literally, dude. It was like if this drone goes down in the ocean, like there's nothing I can do.
right,
Can't
right.
jump in the water and like grab it. And then this drone's like what $50,000 drone just flying up in the air,
Wow, 50K.
and
Wow.
yeah, so
That's good, but your shout out to your boss, man. He knows that you're a real responsible person. I know you myself as far as being responsible and dedicated to your craft day in and day out, always trying to improve yourself, learn things, share information with people, you always
hmm
had that about you. That's how I gravitated to you.
oh yeah,
That's what's up, man. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you.
oh yeah. And what's crazy is like now that I'm like in this field is like I'm trying to get my son to do it, but like my son, it felt good. Like my son just graduated. What is he? He's in fifth grade. So my life has changed so completely since I've started traveling now. I don't think I've shared this news with you, but I was able to pull my son out of public school.
Wow.
And I don't know how other people believe in online schooling, like, like homeschooling, I guess you call it.
Right.
But since I travel so much, I had to pull my son out of public school and homeschool him. My wife, she has to work less because, she has to pull the duties at home
Right.
because I'm always at home. And then
Shout out
with her,
Maria
oh, yeah.
holding it
But,
down in the garden. Yeah.
man, dude, this woman is impressive because she can work and still fulfill the duties of being a home and a wife. And takes care of my son doing homeschooling. My daughter, she's a handful. She's like my twin.
Right about to say
And
little Alex. Yeah.
and but now my son, like before he when he graduated fourth grade, he graduated AB in honor roll, and they
Wow.
had him speak at like the little graduation,
Right.
and it felt cool to be there because he says what inspires you is my dad, and I want to be a robotic like drone operator like my dad. And I was like, wow,
Wow.
like for him to say that and like think
Mm,
about me to, I
yeah.
didn't even expect of it because we went to like his ceremony and stuff,
Right.
and for him to like put me on blast like that, it felt great. I was like,
Yeah.
dang, the kids do look at you, they
Yeah.
respect you
Yeah.
because he never tells me this stuff, and I was like, for him to like think about me while I'm at like I'm just traveling and stuff, doing my job, and then for him to put me on the screen, like my dad inspired me to do
Wow.
best in school. It felt great, and I was like, I
Yeah, I
knew
bet.
from that moment I did the right choice to jump, careers, and here I
Yeah.
am, man.
Father's love for his son, the son loves for his father. No doubt.
hmm
Shout out to little Alex, man. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
share with the world a story when I first met him. That's for episode two to be continued. The pool side. But shit, man, I'm
yep,
gonna just take this time. I don't want to hold you. I know you're in Chicago. You're getting things ready. Got a big job coming up.
Yep.
Uh, I just want to take a moment to, thank you for coming on the show and continue doing what you're doing, being a family man, a traveling guy. Always continue to improve yourself, like I mentioned before. Uh, See, I got just number of good things to say about you. I'm running out of them.
Yep.
I can't even.
Same
I can
thing.
go on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, man, thank you for dropping by the Kim TV show, man. You got any last words you want to sign off with?
Man, just don't be afraid to jump, guys. Fulfill your dreams. Just keep on going, man. You only live once.
Yeah, I want to live once, baby. So again, Mr. Alex, appreciate it, man. It's your boy Kim TV, man. Signing off.